Tonight, prediction fever. Polls right now show Kamala Harris and Donald Trump locked in a tight race. But there is also another way to see how the race is going in real time. There are 12 financial betting markets going right now, 12, and well over $1 billion is already at play. Volume has tripled in the past 72 hours and could triple again, up to $3 billion by election eve. Out front now, Jim Bianco, economic analyst, president of Bianco Research. He follows this closely, first bet himself on an outcome back in 1992, and points out there's a very long history of these, even trading on the stock market all the way back to the Civil War. So, Jim, here we are, 12 markets. Crypto is involved in some of them. What do the betting markets say tonight about who's winning?
So let's keep in mind that these are probability markets. And right now they're showing that Donald Trump is trading at around 55 to 60% chance of winning. Kamala Harris is trading at around 40 to 45%. Now, don't look at this as Trump has a 10-point lead, because that's not what prediction markets or probabilities are about. It's more like if you ran the election 100 times, he would win 55 times, she would win 45 times. We don't run 100 elections, we run one. And you have to ask, are we going to have one of those 45 elections next week? Or are we going to have one of the 55? So obviously you'd rather be 55 than 45. But this is probably best called a toss-up in the betting markets with a slight underscore advantage to Trump.
All right. So, and that's interesting because some of these polls, even in the past hours, right, have come out and given Harris a couple points in these must-win states, still within the margin of the polling margin of victory, margin of error. But she has been going up. And in that, you expect the amount of money in these markets to surge in the next few days. I know, Jim, that odds could move dramatically, in fact, as things like exit polls come out, right? When you're not going to be getting polls anymore, you're just getting an exit polls, and really the financial markets that we're looking at, those are the only place that you can really see what's happening to the odds. And it is, for anyone who gets involved, an all or nothing bet.
Yeah, on that last point, I think you got to keep in mind that whatever money is bet, whenever the election is done, one candidate will be at $1 or $1, and the other candidate will be at 0, and half the people will lose money, and half the people will have made money, and we're just going to divide up the pie. The betting markets are going to probably surge, as you pointed out, because that's what they do. If you've ever been to the horse track, in the 2 minutes before the race goes off is when you get all the betting that goes on. Well, that's the way that these markets work too. In the couple of days, or even Tuesday morning of election day, you'll get a surge of money, because then the outcome is known later that day, or maybe in the next day or two. People are not going to bet this in February and hold it for 9 months waiting for the election. They're going to bet it the day of. And they're also very good because they give you a way to summarize, because that's what I think they are. They are just a summary of all the information we know into one number. So on election day, they're going to be very volatile. They usually are. They could move 30 or 50 points as opposed to 2 or 3 points, which is what we're comfortable with. And what would they move them on? Exit polls, updates on vote counts. Right. And you'll get a lot of data, and you want to know, what does that mean? Look at the betting market. It'll tell you if one candidate goes up or the other candidate goes down. That'll be the summation of what we think it means.
And obviously, if anyone watching, if you think they're wrong right now on sort of, you said coin toss, but advantage Trump, they think Harris. You go in on that if you're right. You can make a lot of money. It depends. Now, there's been some talk quickly before we go, Jim, that these markets are being manipulated. Few big players are trying to get the outcome they want. They're trying to influence people by making it look like, I guess in this case, Trump is winning. You're skeptical, though.
Yeah, I mean, there are a few big players that are playing these markets, and sometimes they move them around a little bit. But the premise of manipulation is if somebody comes in and pushes the market to a level where it won't be, that the rest of the country is going to notice that, and it's either going to dissuade them from voting because they're depressed, or energize them to vote because they think their candidate's going to win. I don't think that these betting markets are going to change anybody's opinion. So it's a waste of markets, which is why I push back on that argument.
All right. Well, Jim, thank you very much. I'm glad to see you. We'll see what happens over these next few days. Have a good weekend. And all of you, I hope you have a